So this is the roadmap, fiscal roadmap given by NK Singh committee. That is, in the year 2017, this is that year NK Singh committee submitted the report. The sender's debt was 49.4%. So this sender's debt by 2023, it will be reduced to 38.7. That is less than 40. How? By reducing the fiscal deficit to 2.5, revenue deficit to 0.8%. Now, fourth one, current affair. Very, very important. Okay. Escape clause. This concept. So, escape clause is not mentioned in the FRBM Act. Escape clause is mentioned by the FRBM committee report. As the term suggests, okay, escape clause is a flexibility given for the government to deviate from the target if there is any extraordinary circumstances. So, FRBM committee says that escape clause to accommodate counter cyclical issues. The cyclical issues are basically, counter cyclical issues are either recession or boom. So in these situations, the government can accommodate or can make changes to the target. Okay. So it says that there will be flexibility to adjust with cyclical fluctuations like boom or recession. Recession, we know that it is negative growth. Boom is high growth. So under the escape clause, if there is a recession, in the case of recession, under the escape clause, it says that there can be deviation, temporary and moderate deviation can be made from this fiscal path. From the fiscal path, you can make deviations, even if there is a recession. But it said one important point. You can deviate from the fiscal deficit path, but the maximum deviation should not go beyond 0.5% of GDP. This is very, very, very important. Okay. So escape clause was added so that the government can deviate under extraordinary circumstances, but this deviation in a year, for a year, should not be more than 0.5% of fiscal deficit of the GDP. Okay. Now, this is also very important. So, NK Singh committee said that under 3 circumstances, you can use escape clause. Under 3 circumstances, you can use this escape clause to deviate. First is situations like something which affects national security, overriding consideration of national security, or if there is war, if there is a national calamity of a higher proportion, collapse of agriculture, this is also very important, this is a term you need to, collapse of agriculture severely affecting farm output and farm income. So this is the first criteria. If any of these situation arises, then there can be deviation under the escape clause, but the deviation can't go beyond 0.5%. Second criteria is that far-reaching structural reforms in the economy. Try to understand our economic structure means agriculture is a structure, industry is a structure, banking sector is a structure, okay, service sector, different service sectors, they are all structures. So if there is any far-reaching reforms in any of these structures, and because of these far-reaching reforms in the structure, if there is any financial implication, means if it affects the government revenue or high government expenditure, then the government can deviate. The third one is if there is sharp decline in the real output growth. What is real output growth? Real GDP growth. If there is sharp decline in the real GDP growth of at least 3 points. So if the 3%, if the GDP have declined by 3%, if the GDP have declined by 3% below the average of the previous 4 quarters. So before declining, you have to take the last 4 quarters average. So compared to the, let's say 1 year. So compared to the previous year, if the GDP declined by 3%, means lower than 3%, then third can be a trigger. And what happened in the year 2021? It is not 3. So from 4% to minus 7.7. It is nearly 11 point something, more than 11% deviation is there. Okay, so huge deviation has happened. Okay, so this 3 very important because it's a current affair. Okay, now I want to tell you one, see, 2 times the government have used the escape clause. One in February 2020 and the other in February 2021. But February 2020 it officially accepted it. In 2021 it remained silent. Without saying anything, it used it. I'll tell you why. In February, when the finance minister was placing the 2020-21 budget in February 2020, what happened is it used that 0.5% escape clause because the maximum deviation can be 0.5%. Okay, so try to understand. This is in relation to the financial year 1920. See, when the finance minister was presenting the 2021 budget, what is the current financial year? 1920. Yes or no? So in the 1920 target was 1920. The fiscal deficit target was 3.3%. But the finance minister revised it to, so maximum how much it can revise? 0.5. So 3.3 plus 0.5, it revised it to. So while presenting the budget, the finance minister used the word escape clause. And we were expecting that a question will come for your coming prelims, but they didn't ask. So expect it for the coming your 21 prelims. Okay, or your next, whatever is, whenever you are writing, so this topic is important. Okay, why means, so again, so finance minister first officially said it, but when the actual figure came, see, in February 2020 means the financial year 1920 is not completed, 2 more months is there, but when the actual figure came, it was not 3.88%, it went beyond that, and 1920 gets settled with. So what is the 1920 fiscal deficit real figure? 4.6 only. After that, then what happened is that with this, then came lockdown. So then after the lockdown, then that is one of the rarest event happened. Now lockdown created, see, so in the 2021 budget, finance minister used the second criteria to use the escape clause. So in the current budget, even though she have not mentioned it, you have to assume that it is the third condition. Okay, so in this budget, escape clause was not used because it went beyond. It's not 0.5%, na? So the target for actually when it was revised for 3.8%, when the finance minister presented the budget for 2021, the projected fiscal deficit was 3.5%. What actually happened? It was 9.5%. So there was no, it is not escape clause. After this recommendation, the government made amendment to the FRBM Act in 2018. Okay, so when you make amendment to the FRBM Act, it becomes binding. So it is binding on the government. That's why why it's because of the binding or the obligation only, finance minister officially said that. But now see, this great lockdown is an exception. We never thought anything. Okay, so in this great lockdown we can't do anything. It is binding only. That's why again in this financial year, when the finance minister presented the budget, she also said a target that by 25-26 we will bring down the fiscal deficit to 4%. Otherwise she could have remained silent. It's binding. That's why she is doing it, because she have to tell the rolling 3-year, next to 3-year target. The common man doesn't know, but you as a civil service aspirant should know. It's binding because of this law.